Plex is getting rid of their transcoder, changing the way they look, abandoning all of their HTPC users, and even stealing content from big movie companies. These untrue clickbait titles and more in today's Plex News Recap. What's up YouTube, Jason here with Byte My Bits, and in today's video I want to do a Plex news recap. And that's because Plex has been pretty busy in the last 30 days. In fact, some of these topics deserve their own video, but I waited. I wanted to gather my thoughts before I talked about some of them, so now so much has happened, I'm just gonna make a whole news recap video to cover all of them. So let's jump right in. The first topic today is Plex is getting rid of their transcoder. And yes, that's totally clickbait, not true. Technically, they're coming out with a new transcoder. If you follow the links in the description, it'll actually take you to a forum post where you can download and get a little bit more information on the new Plex transcoder they've been working on behind the scenes. To be clear, this is a beta forum release only as I make this video, which means there's probably going to be some bugs and things that they need to work out. So if you find any, they do ask you to tell them about it. So what does this new transcoder mean for you? Well, some basic stuff. They want to update the FFmpeg, and then they're adding support for Linux-based hardware decoding, which if you've watched a previous video, you have to kind of sort of hack it to get it to work. But now with this new transcoder, and I have not tested it, it should work out of the box. They're also adding support for zero-copy hardware transcoding on Windows with Intel GPUs, zero-copy hardware transcoding on Linux with NVIDIA GPUs, and zero-copy hardware transcoding on interlaced media. And if you don't know what zero copy is, it's kind of like a direct communication between devices bypassing CPU and RAM, basically meaning that the CPU won't be bogged down by the transfer, allowing things to move quicker and be a lot more responsive. This is an improvement on the transcoder, should add some functionality to Linux users out there, and if works right, should overall improve the speed. And to put a cherry on top, Plex actually said with this new transcoder, it should lead the way to HDR to SDR tone mapping. If you don't know already, if you transcode an HDR media file to an SDR transcoded stream, then it's going to be washed out in gray and just completely ugly. But Plex is saying hopefully in the future that won't be a thing. Next up, the new Plex Uno interface. Plex has changed the way they look, and they're trying to make it a universal interface across all of their devices, which means whether you're using Windows, an NVIDIA Shield, or your Xbox, everything should look the same. This whole new unified experience for Plex should make going between devices a lot easier because you don't have to learn the new interface because let's say something like the Xbox is horribly outdated and it sucks. You've probably already ran into this new interface when you log into a device. It asks you to customize this initial login to your Plex media server, asking you to do things like choosing your preferred media server or selecting the libraries that you want to see on your new left sidebar. This new always accessible, customizable, and shrinkable sidebar actually makes things quite a bit easier to access your media, especially from different servers. And if you need to, you even have quick access to the rest of your media through the more at the bottom of the sidebar. The new interface also has some more customizable home screen, including pinning content rows from any library to your home screen, and even has some redesigned tab views that remember your previous view within each library. I know you've probably already had a chance to check out this new interface. It is definitely a work in progress, and through my testing, I've even found a few bugs. But I can say that overall, it is a drastic improvement to the design. I personally love being able to add and remove different libraries that I access more often than not, especially from different servers. Now with this new interface, Plex actually released a new app called Plex. And everybody on the internet knows it as the HTPC killer. I've had actually quite a few comments of people asking me to talk about this new Plex app, specifically because Plex said they are killing the Plex media player, and the new Plex app does not have any kind of a TV screen mode that you can use on something like an HTPC. This new application is going to bring some new offline capabilities, including downloading content directly from your server, very similar to the sync options you get with most of your Plex apps on your mobile devices or other media streaming devices. With the one key difference here is that with the desktop app, you just have an option to download. With Sync, you had the option to download a more optimized version or a smaller size, different quality. With the desktop mode, it's just download the raw file and you don't actually have a chance to, get a smaller version of said file. And the only reason why I say this is that even though I do like the new download feature through the Plex app, I do actually like the option to use a lower quality when I'm downloading or syncing my content. I mean, imagine those who want to use a laptop with the Plex app and they have a limited amount of SSD storage on said laptop. Maybe they want to download an entire season of a TV show, but they just don't have the room for it. Having the option for your Plex media server to transcode it to a lower bitrate would be pretty useful for, I think, some people. Let me know in the comments down below if you think you would like to be able to download lower quality versions, or if you think with the Plex app running on a Windows machine, you probably just don't need it. So going back to the original topic, yes, the new app does not have TV mode. Thankfully though, the community did express their concerns over the loss of this feature, and Plex listened. Good job, Plex, because honestly, my gut reaction was like, what? That's why I didn't make a video, because there's that initial gut reaction, like, WTF, brah. Now, Plex actually said something. Modern streaming devices provide a better experience for most people. And I thought about that quote a little bit. And what it really comes down to is that I personally don't use an HTPC. I personally don't use the TV mode with the Plex media player. I use the Plex media player on my main computer, but I don't put it into full screen and I don't use the TV mode at all. And although I've thought about, talked about, and even considered building an HTPC, realistically, I use my Xbox. And my next streaming device, which is going to be a main driver for my entertainment center, is going to be an NVIDIA Shield. Hopefully when they come out with a new one, because I want new and shiny and faster and better and greater. It's a small device, low power, comes with a remote, it's just easy to use, and overall, on a certain level, I kind of agree with their quote. I mean, modern streaming devices do provide a pretty good experience. Building your own HTPC just for Plex is just not reasonable, really. Of course, an HTPC build is going to bring other things like gaming and other things that you can do with a computer literally in your living room. But if it's just for Plex or maybe YouTube, there's just a lot of streaming devices out there that are powerful and they have a lot of support for modern day codecs and audio formats, like the NVIDIA Shield that basically supports everything and is amazing. So why build an HTPC? But still, there is a community of people out there that do use this feature. They spoke out, Plex listened, and this is some of the notes that they edited their blog to include. They added, "We will keep Plex Media Player in TV mode working as it is today and will fix some serious issues which impact the product for the foreseeable future. We will continue to invest in our player technology on streaming devices, both to increase media compatibility as well as to bring more HTPC features there." And they give an example as video zoom modes. "We will also do a better job at communicating their capabilities, as it is pretty hard to get an accurate picture of that. Look for more information on that soon. And finally, we are actively investigating the best way to continue supporting HTPCs as a platform." So they heard the community, and it sounds like they're not giving up on that feature. I feel like the best, course of action here is just adding the feature to the new Plex app and calling it a day. A little side note here, before I end this segment, the new Plex app does have some scaling issues if you use high resolution displays. Everything looked pretty small on my 4K screen, but thankfully, Plex does recognize this issue, and they even provide a tutorial on how to fix it in Windows. Kind of have to go in and do a little bit of tweaking, but at least you can get it to look a lot better. Again, the new Plex program or Plex app is a work in progress, so if you notice something, say something, and hopefully it'll get fixed. Next up, Warner Brothers. Now, Plex has actually kind of been experimenting with adding things to Plex, things like podcasts, web shows, title music integration, live TV. But Plex is actually teaming up with Warner Brothers to add premium ad-supported movies and TV shows directly through the Plex interface. So basically live TV just with commercials. I mean, it's kind of a win-win for everybody. You get free stuff. You kind of have to watch, ads to do it, but I mean, that's TV in a nutshell. Now, it's currently unknown exactly what titles are going to launch, but we do know it is going to be a United States only initial launch. You will not need a Plex Pass to access this new feature, but I do think this is actually a pretty good move. Not everybody out there either has access to or owns an insane Plex media server with a bunch of content on it. Having access to movies and TV shows through Warner Brothers and potentially maybe other companies in the future, even if it is ad supported, could open up the whole Plex experience without having to buy subscriptions to things like Netflix or Hulu. And it is just one more step to bringing all of the media that you consume to one interface in one app. Now all we need is Plex to bring all of your Netflix and Hulu subscription media over to the Plex interface and easily browsable all under one library screen. I know that's probably never going to happen because, licensing and the battle of the media streamers, but Hey, it'd be cool. Well guys, that's it for today's Plex News Roundup. Personally, I am excited to test out this new transcoder. Adding more support for hardware accelerated transcoding and making things faster is always great. I'm still an avid user of the Plex Media Player, but I have high hopes for the new Plex app. And even though I don't know exactly what's going to be offered or how much content is going to come from the whole Warner Brothers integration, I am kind of excited to see this happen for Plex, because I'm sure they've talked to a few people and probably got shut down a couple times as far as bringing their content over to Plex. Everybody wants their own streaming subscription services, and asking somebody to give it away for free in exchange for a couple commercials, I mean, that's kind of a hard sell. But where one could sign, others could follow, and who knows, Plex could end up competing with Hulu or Netflix sometime in the future. Now, I am eager to know what you have to think about some of these updates, so please post them in the comments down below. Specifically, I want to hear from the HTPC community. How many of you are actually out there, or have you adopted something like the NVIDIA Shield or Fire TV to consume your media? Actually, I'd kind of be interested to know from Plex, like what percentage of people use the HTPC full screen mode interface. But anyways, guys, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe below and have yourself a fantastic evening.